getting out of shape?
What do you think about iPads now being banned in the cafeteria?
Are you ready for Loyola's annual Edmahar Sports Tournament coming up in a few weeks?
Good morning, Loyola High School. Welcome to the Loyola Newscast.
Are Loyola students getting out of shape? More on that by Anthony McCall. Anthony?
Hi, my name's Anthony Monroe, and I'm here standing in the cafeteria, where hundreds of kids eat junk food each day. One of the most popular junk foods is the brioche. The brioche contains 50% of your daily fat, 560 calories, and 0.2 trans fats. You know how many trans fats you're supposed to eat in a day or in your lifetime? Zero.
Thank you, Anthony. I'm here with Loyola's science teacher, Mr. Morrow, a man who's very up to par with his health and is very active. So I hear that you've been in Afghanistan for 221 days. How important was your health?
Well, it was very important to come back alive, let's put it that way. I mean, if we're talking about nutrition, it was important, and just ensuring that I maintained proper hydration, proper nutrition. The entire tour I was over there was really important. Really.
So you seem to be pretty up to par with your knowledge on this. So what would you recommend for any teenager's diet who's looking to get into better shape or just stay healthy?
What I see most of the time is, especially teenagers that are starting out with weight trainings, they want a quick fix to either gain mass or have a nice flat stomach or abs. But there isn't any quick fix. So I would say the biggest thing, especially with teenagers here at the school, is just to try and limit sugar consumption as much as possible and make better choices with respects to what you're going to go eat in the caf and what you're going to have for lunch and what you're basically putting in your face every day. So if they could control that and just make sure they have more fruits and vegetables, they'd probably be on the right track.
So you seem to be pretty against what most of the caf sells. So knowing that there's a lot of trans fat in these things, can you explain what trans fats really do?
Well, I mean, yeah, there's some trans fats in some of the things, but I mean, I'd be more concerned about sugar, but effectively a trans fat is just a trans fatty acid that just makes it significantly harder to digest and can lead to a whole bunch of nasty conditions because it's an artificial food. So yeah, I would try to avoid them at all costs, especially the brioches that they sell down there. But I would say the main concern would be refined sugars.
All right, thanks very much. Back to you, Anthony.
Wow, fantastic interview, Alex. Now I'm going to go walk over to the Loyola cafeteria, where kids are having their lunch now to see what's inside their lunch boxes. Hello, young man. What's your name?
My name's Liam Johnston.
And what's in your lunchbox?
2 clementines.
Healthy enough. But do you want to follow that by Chips Ahoy's, a snack pack, some Pokies, and a Chewy bar? And do you really think Pogos are the healthy choice? Do you know what you're doing to your body?
No.
You might be skinny now, Liam, but all the sodium, calories, and fats, trans fats, are building up in your body. Start shaping up and having more clementines, or you're going down. Hello, Siri. What's your name?
Max Myers.
And Anthony. And do you know what you're eating?
Soup.
And do you know how unhealthy that soup is?
No, I do not.
That soup contains 96% of your daily sodium. Massimo, let me ask you this. Do you plan on eating supper tonight?
Yes.
And do you know by just eating supper, you are going way over your amount of sodium for each day? And that means kidney stone. Thank you, Massimo.
Thanks, Anthony. I'm here with Loyola math teacher, Mr. Lamb. Mr. Lamb is often concerned about the unhealthy foods that we eat at the caf during lunchtime. He has some certain words about certain foods that we'd like to hear. Some of your students know you last year for your speech on the noodle soups. Would you like to go more in depth about that?
Well, like I said, I am not really against the noodle, but I constantly remind the student if they choose to eat the noodle, make sure they don't drink the broth, because the broth basically contains a lot of sodium. It's more than you ever needed. So and that's how you might get sick eventually, because if you eat the broth and you drink the broth and you don't have enough water, then the salt level it's in your body is quite high. So that's how you can get a serious disease later on. So
You've explained to us that you've had a kidney stone in the past. Do you blame the soups or do you blame all junk food in general?
Well, it's part of it's your the way you're born. It's in your gene. But if you can keep it to the minimum, yeah. Junk food. I used to like junk food, but since that experience, I need to be more aware of that.
And if there were 3 things that you could add to the CAF to give us a healthier diet, what would they be?
I say more fruits and vegetable, and meaning cutting down the fried stuff. I think that the students will eat whatever you present them. So if you give them healthy stuff, I'm pretty sure they're going to choose the healthy stuff.
All right, thanks very much, Mr. Matt.
All right.
Wow, thanks again, Langford. Another amazing interview. It's really been eye-opening to see all the junk food Loyola students are consuming. So I'm going to leave you with one last question. What's it going to be? Diet or diabetes? Back to you, boys.
Thanks, Anthony. Since January, all iPad use has now been banned in the cafeteria. For more on how students are coping with this, here's Thomas Legwood. Thomas?
Thanks, guys. Loyola now banned iPads from the cafeteria during school. Now, fun activities and board games are in the atrium, thanks to Miss Sherry Adams. We interviewed her and found out her opinion on the new iPad.
Well, we need something to do, right? I mean, it's not okay just to take one occupation away and not give you any other options. So I have always kept boardrooms in my room, and I know they're very popular. And I thought, well, let's try it. Let's see how students react to it. And so far, so good. Definitely, things are noisier, but that's a great thing. That there's a lot more conversation, a lot more interaction, and I think, as a kid who would have been shy in high school myself, I think it's good for the guys who hang around the edges and want to jump into stuff and may otherwise escape into a video game because it's easier, and they kind of hang around and they watch, and the next thing you know, they're joining in. And I like seeing the seniors and the juniors that together sometimes playing different games. That's a lot of fun.
We also interviewed Principal Mr. Mahar to find out his thoughts on the new iPad.
There was concern of the lack of just kids talking to kids, whether in the morning or at lunchtime. Those were the 2 times where it came up, where kids in the caf in the morning or kids in the atrium, they're just, their faces down in their iPads, and they're really, if you go up and listen to them next to them, what they're talking about with their friends is what they're doing on the game. So, you know, how you're scoring on a game or what you're watching. So all the communication was about what was going on the iPad, as opposed to other face-to-face, eyeball to eyeball. You know, there was no kind of human interaction going on. So that's something that stood out, and that goes back a couple years. And so we decided that communicating is just, it's life. It's about the future. It's about developing relationships. And when you get into business and out into the real world, if you can't communicate with somebody face to face, you're really doing a disservice to yourself. And so we felt we were doing a disservice to you guys. I am, to be honest with you, I am so thrilled to walk through the atrium at lunchtime. I see Sec 1s, I see Sec 5s, I see maroon and white guys playing, whether it's cards or Connect 4, or I see some teachers taking on other students with the Maple Leafs. I saw Mr. Vanny playing with the Maple Leafs against another kid who was the Canadians on table hockey. And just the energy and the laughing and the talking, to me, is worth everything.
People around in Loyola High School are quite happy with the new rule. I'm Tommy Lane from Loyola High School, Montreal.
Pretty interesting story. I think the new ban will bring some of the Loyola spirit back into the school.
I agree. Speaking of Loyola spirit, the legendary Ed Mahar Sports Tournament is next week, and teams from all over Montreal will be competing. More on that by Andrew Singer. Andrew?
Since 1971, Loyola High School has been hosting an annual sports tournament called the Ed Mahar Sports Tournament. The tournament is dawning very soon, starting with the opening ceremony on January 29th. Ed Mahar was born on January 6, 1926. At 10 years old, he entered Loyola's junior preparatory class, which was the start of a 55-year-long association with Loyola. Ed Mahar and Jim Rudy started the tournament in 1971 to showcase the talents of high school hockey players in Montreal.
The Ed Mahar Sports Tournament is an exciting time for the Loyola community. We interviewed several teachers to get the inside scoop on what's going on in the tournament this year.
We interviewed Mr. Richard Mahar, principal of the school, to find out what the Ed Mahar Sports Tournament is really about.
Proceeds primarily go to cover the cost of the tournament, because it does cost a lot of money to put it on. So part of it is to pay for ice time, referees, food and so on. But a big chunk of it goes towards a scholarship that we give out every year. We give out a $1,000 scholarship to a graduating student from Secondary 5, just to kind of shows the ideals of Ed Mahar in terms of great sportsmanship, great participation in school life, and so on. And then the other chunk, the bigger chunk, goes to the school's athletic program. So a lot of the kind of the gravy items that we get for sometimes new uniforms, or if we need new wrestling mats, new score clocks for the gym. So all that stuff, which is above and beyond our normally budgeted items, the Sports Tournament Committee pitches in probably about, I'm going to say $15,000 to $20,000 a year to help get more equipment for the student athletes. It was my dad's favorite weekend of the entire year, and you may or may not know that he spent 55 years here at Loyola, and that weekend was by far his favorite weekend, and it was his favorite weekend for one reason, that it just brought the whole community together. So it wasn't just juvenile hockey players, it wasn't just basketball players, it was alumni, it was students, it was parents, it was coaches of other schools that he's been coaching with and against for 20, 30 years. So that whole family community spirit that was really this weekend, and you see it in the opening ceremony. You just see that spirit come out on that weekend. So that's for him. What was the reason? What kept it going for so many years is just that community spirit that showed up this cold December or January weekend. I would say it addresses a couple of them. Certainly the school motto of Men for Others. This weekend won't happen without students kicking in, parents kicking in, former parents kicking in. Like last year, you might remember that we honored Dr. Jack McMullen. He's been on the tournament committee for 40 years. So his son graduated in 1976, and he's come back every year. So that kind of pitching in and just him showing us what it is to give back to Loyola for 40 years, I think it's just a good example for the students to see. And then students offering to work score clocks and DJs and tickets and stuff like that, just carrying t-shirts to teams and that. So it's just a chance for, again, from the 80-year-old Jack McBowens to the 12 and 13-year-old Loyola students to just feel like we're coming together as a community to give back. So in terms of Men for Others, definitely there's a feel for that throughout the weekend. Other aspects, certainly competence, that's something more in the classroom, but although you could look at competence in terms of competing with your athletic skills against other schools. So it's a chance for Loyola student athletes to, see where they're at in terms of other schools and their student athletes. So there is competence involved.
What were your first thoughts when you were chosen as the honorary chairman?
Well, I was surprised. Yeah. The first thing I actually was very surprised. I was actually in the meeting while they were announcing the candidate, and I'm listening, and all of a sudden my name pops up. So I was very surprised, very flattered, and kind of humbling because I know a lot of the previous honorary chairmen, and I'm in good company. So I'm very humbled by that. I think it just partly showcases our athletes. I think we're the only school that has a multi-sport tournament. Hockey, basketball, usually they're separate. And I think we're very unique with regards to having to showcase basketball, hockey, as well as wrestling. It also kind of showcases the diversity of our students. If you notice during our opening ceremonies, when there's like 50, 60 kids on the ice on the band, they're also part of our hockey team, our sports teams at the same time. So it just kind of showcases our talents and our multitude.
Clearly, I am certainly excited for this wondrous tournament that happens every year here at Loyola. It is right after Christmas, so right after I get my presents, and I am clearly honored to be participating in it. True, our team always performs the best, and we will surely bring back that medal.
Wow, impressive. Back to you, Anthony.
Great story, Andrew. After watching that, you can expect to see me at the tournament this weekend.
Many of my friends that visit this school will always tell me how pristinely clean it is, and I agree. Loyola is one of the cleanest schools I've ever been to. However, many people do not know who the great staff and support is. So we have more on that by Matthew Lawler. Matthew?
You see him every day, behind a computer or around the hallways. But what happens when students are in class? What actually goes on behind the scenes?
We sat down Mr. Clark to really see what he does. Mr. Lane Clark was raised in Peterborough, Ontario. He came to help with general technology assistance. He's currently 25 with a girlfriend. He mainly works in the Four Seasons, but lately he enters the staff room to help out teachers with computers. He works an average of 9 hours with an hour break for lunch. He works closely with Mr. Bartlett and Mr. Houston. Matthew Lawler, Four Seasons.
That I have been bombarded with loads and loads of homework. But is it really necessary? Does homework actually help you learn? More on that story by Julian Trunzo. Julian?
Okay, so do you feel as though homework has an influence on students' academic results?
To some degree, yeah. If you give homework just for the sake of giving homework, you're not doing the student a great service. I think homework has to be something that's measured, something that's planned, something that's useful for the development of the student's mind. If you give somebody a whole bunch of questions, a whole bunch of problems in math, and they are terrible at math, and they're going to go home and spend 3 hours doing nothing but struggling, and then really not getting very much from the homework assignment. Homework assignments have to be diligently thought out and given only when it's important to the development of the whole idea of that class.
All right, thanks.
Helps them do better on the tests.
Well, I think if you get, I think what homework can do is it gives you good study habits. It gives you confidence when you're encountering material at home and you have to prepare for exams and stuff, tests for stuff. I think it's it allows you to focus more if you're comfortable in that environment. So the more experience you have with homework, the more experience you have with independent learning.
Thanks, Julian. Being at my 3rd year at Loyola High School, I can see that fashion is a very important aspect of Loyola. Marc-Andre Cardinal investigates the fashion trends at Loyola High School.
Thanks, Mark. After watching this, I think I need a trip to the Bay.
Well, if you're hungry and on a variety of different foods, Loyola's got the thing for you. We now switch to Matthew Chewbacca, who will speak about Loyola's annual Student Stock Exchange.
What does it take to be a successful entrepreneur in the Loyola SSX?
To be successful in SSX, you have to work as a team. That's really the most important thing, because if you don't work as a team, even if one person doesn't pull their weight, you'll fail. Another thing you need to be is confident that people want what you're selling. If you don't sort of project that you think people should buy your product, people will take that as a sign that your product isn't really that great.
Tired of gaming at home while it's snowing? We'll come on down to the Winter Carnival. We now turn to Adam Nowakowski. Adam?
At Loyola High School, there has been much talk about the upcoming Winter Carnival. Many will be going to the balls, but how will ski day do? To discuss this matter, we met with Mr. Cluetta.
We've tried gaining the interest of students, trying to make it more relevant for them. People stopped coming to the activity day, so we had to cancel it. It became a regular school day. We've been trying to make ski day more exciting. People just got lazy and rather take the day off. And then over the few years, yeah, I'd say the numbers have gone down. People are just busier. If people don't go skiing or tubing, we'll do something, have an activity. Carnival used to be the carnival ball, a more formal dance, and the students seem to like it. And the girls' schools really like it too, so we figured let's keep it.
And there you have it. Hopefully the ski trip is just as successful.
Thank you, Adam. Anthony, what do you think about the Loyola Winter Carnival?
I think that the Winter Carnival is a great way to spend your day.
Now we return to Matthew Lawler, who has a great story about Loyola dances. Something that I'm sure we're all...
Loyola students know the dances well, but there's an untouched side of them. Loyola News interviewed Mr. Cluetta and asked, how long does it take to ready the dance floor?
Depends on who shows up. If everyone shows up on time, one of the first things usually there's a practice going on, so we actually can't use the gym, but then we got to bring all the tables over, the chairs, all that kind of stuff just to get it ready. And then once practice ends, we then put down the tarps, set up the tables, coat racks. So the whole thing, if all goes according to plan, probably a good hour.
There's been some recent controversy surrounding the dances. It has been asked time and time again, should the dances stay? Loyola News asked the man at the helm, are the dances good for Loyola?
Oh, absolutely. As an institution, I think they're great. I mean, they're great. There's a great social aspect to them. I think especially our students being able to interact with girls and stuff on a sort of regular sort of outside of academia basis. I think it's a lot of fun. Also, it gets people to act socially and interact with each other on just a different level than just every day seeing each other on the bus. It's just a different activity. Definite benefit.
Along in the interview, he said the dances are well attended and he showed no intention in major dance shortages. Along with student cooperation, dances are expected to stay. Matthew Dollar, Gymnasium.
Well, I guess that wraps things up.
Hope you enjoyed today's newscast.
Stay tuned for tomorrow.